Okay.
Welcome everyone to this month's April 2026 Authors Forum. And when we give this great guest author this invite for April 1, she said, Hope it's not April Fool. I said it's not April Fool. This is April wise because we are really interested because we want to get that for last month, but she schedule and all that, she travels a lot. And so without wasting time, I want to welcome to the Authors Forum for the first time my friend, a very great fellow Maxwell leadership speaker, coach, and author, and Coach Deb. Coach Deb, how are you? Great to meet you. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you all today? And
Oh,
it's April Fools. This is no joke. This is legit. I don't know. Does anybody do April Fools anymore? I
well,
did.
I do April wise. I think my April wise is I tell people that April is full. A friend of mine, he knows I always think against the culture. So ask me, see, what is April full of? I say April is full of the blessing of God that had it that make it rich and had it no
Wisdom.
sorrow. He said yes.
Nice. Love it. Love it.
Because we have to be counterculture. So, Coach Deb, you've have done a great work. You've written a book. That book is an expression of your value. And we want to talk about you. We want to talk about the book. Because in the essentials of communication, there are five different essentials of communication. And the first one is who says it. Number two, what who says it has to do with the messenger. The second essential of communication is what is said, the message. The third essential talks about how it is said, the delivery. And the fourth essential is when it is said, the timing. And the last essentials of communication is why it is said, the reason. So, and there's always the man or the woman behind the message. So your book is a message. And so we'll just be sharing. First of all, tell us about yourself and who is Coach Debra Hult. Thank you.
Well, thank you for asking. And first and foremost, thank you for having me. And for those of you that are on here, happy month of wisdom.
Yeah.
April wisdom. So I'm so glad you showed up so we can become wiser together. And I don't have all the answers, and I appreciate your edification, but Dr. Koku, you're legit. I'm trying to keep up with you. So let's just put that out there that I'm like, I don't know if I can do all that you do. So I'm learning a ton from you. And but it's an honor and a privilege to whenever we can add value to people,
Yeah.
um, and take one thing away from investing in your time. So I'm first of all, I'm proud of you all for jumping on and saying yes.
Yeah.
Because I think one of my greatest mentors has said, say yes until it's a no, right? So today you said yes, and
Mm.
then you'll keep saying yes. So thank you for saying yes and jumping on. And by way of introduction, yes, my name is Deb. And I did not know that I was actually going to be the expert in relational leadership.
Mm.
My plan was I was going to be a lawyer.
Mm.
And my plan of why I wanted to be a lawyer is because I just wanted to lock up mean people. And
Mm.
that was because of my upbringing. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that,
Mm.
that I'm not alone in people who have lost loved ones or people who have been abused because of alcoholism. And the list could go on and on. And we all have a story and we all have a story in us. And
Mm.
so that was my my focus was I was going to go be a lawyer and lock up mean people. But that why just wasn't quite strong enough. And here I am through trial and error of being an expert in relational leadership
Yeah.
because of my past. I had the opportunity and the blessing to be mentored by so many people
Yeah.
that gave me the opportunity to just identify who I really was. And
Mm.
so I do own a company called Core Trainings. I do speak, I teach, I coach leadership development. Relational leadership is my focus. I do mentoring programs. A huge component of my focus is our youth. And then also for women as well, and doing mentorship with women and in the education arena. And so core trainings has been around for about 17 years now. And we, like I said, speak, teach, train, leadership development, but our focus is relational leadership. And really, we keep it simple. We try to keep things less is more so that we can actually absorb it. And the reason that we focus on relational leadership is because we believe people go along with people they get along with and that they like.
mm,
And we try to keep it that simple. So we put a lot of intentionality into slowing down and having people realize how they come across, because
mm,
I'm sure you can admit that is there a lack of humanity right now
mm,
and an abundance of disconnectedness? And that disconnectedness is starting with ourselves, which
mm,
is one of the things that really pushed me into writing a book. Because when I speak, my title is Why I Can, My Story, Your Breakthrough. And
mm,
then through some great mentorship, we switched that into the book, which is How You Can,
mm.
Tools and Mindsets for Transformation, right?
Wow, that's awesome. Wow, great, great. You set us up on a very good pedestal, and you set the ball rolling, and that's just what you do. And the beauty of every book is the message of the book. And I always tell people, and one time somebody was trying to call me because she just wrote a book. She was really desperate, and she was calling me, pressured call. I don't like such things. She want to be the bestseller, she want to be a bestseller. And there's this such a crave of being best-selling author, best-selling author. Like I said, I don't think inside the box, I think outside the box.
Mm,
And I was like, what if we become the best serving author? What if service become our priority? There's nothing wrong in being a best-selling author.
right.
Anybody can be a best-selling author as long as you know how to do marketing. But the question is, if people read your book, are they going to feel served? Marco was sharing based on Dr. John Maxwell's quote, everyone deserves to be led well. And I have promoted everyone deserves to be served well.
Mm,
I believe serving others well is what is more profitable for the people that we serve. So the question is, what problem did your book solve? And who is the one reader you kept in mind's eye while you are writing this book? Because every book is meant to solve problem. When I wrote my recent book, Leader, Lead Yourself. In fact, someone was talking about the book of recent on LinkedIn. I didn't know, not that maybe we have one-on-one relationship. And someone was talking about something and he was recommending my book. And both of them are white guys. I didn't even know them. I have to jump in the conversation to just appreciate her,
mm,
appreciate him.
mm.
And he said that book piqued his interest. And the second guy said, I'm going to get the book. So I mean, that is what a book is meant to serve a purpose. So let's start with your book. And I want everybody to know as they join this, as they are watching this on YouTube, because we're going to put it on YouTube, what problem did your book? First of all, tell us the title of the book. And if you have it, you can lift it up and let's see it. Because we use this forum to promote the work of our guest author. Yes, how you can. I love that. I love the way you did it. Yeah, so tell us what problem did how you can solve, and who is the one reader you kept in your mind's eye while you were writing the book. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such great questions, right? Where to start on that? And as far as the problem that we solve, and really, um, it all started because we as human beings, especially all of us that are in the personal growth arena, right? We're speakers, we're coaches, we're trainers. We want to write a book. We're in this arena of personal growth. We believe in personal growth. So we're constantly getting information, right? We're students, we're receiving information. But what we're looking for is transformation, right? We're
Mm,
looking for transformation. And how do you get from information to transformation?
mm,
You got to put your Nikes on and you got to do it, right? So it's the application. So in order to go from information to transformation, we need to do application. And so
mm,
that was one of my how do I go from, okay, this is great information. How do I apply it? Where do I apply it? And the problem is that so many of us have a mindset of, if I were to throw truth serum on you all, and if I had asked every single one of you, hey, type in the chat, how many of you would be willing to admit that you spend more time thinking about what you don't have, what you can't do, what you're not good at, versus
Mm,
what you do have, what you can do, and what you are good at, we would all go, oh, let me type in the chat, right? We would all raise our hand and say, that's me. And that's a mindset because you can't give away what you don't have.
mm,
And if we're in this personal space to serve other people, we can only serve to the level of the capacity of what we believe in our thoughts. And so
mm,
that was the whole shift of the mindset, or what are some of the tools, what are some of the subject matters, what are some of the things that we can control? Because the one thing we can control is how we think.
mm,
But we also need the discipline to do that on how we think. So
mm,
that's how it came to how you can. And then there's several different shifts of supporting how to look at things differently to change that mindset. And so when you ask about who the audience is, everybody, but the motivation behind it was really cool, because this is a tips book. So this book, How You Can, it has 10 different chapters, and each page is less than 100 words.
mm.
And it's 52. How many weeks in a year? There are 52 um, different. There's 10 chapters with 52 different tips, and they range from soup to nuts in reference to why they're in there. Because
Mm,
the audience, again,
mm,
if we're shifting mindset, 90% of my work is in the education arena, whether it is youth, which is a huge component of what I do with mentoring programs, leadership development. I partner with a lot of different athletic associations across the country. Last week I was in Georgia. Next week I'll be in Texas. And then at the end of the month, I'm actually going to be in Honduras working with some schools in Honduras, which
wow.
I'm super excited about.
Mm,
So when I was putting this together, my audience at that time was students.
mm,
But as I was doing it, it was also serving athletic directors. It was serving teachers. It was
mm,
serving us because of the size of this. It can go into a backpack. It can go into a purse. It can go into a briefcase if somebody's on the road. And how many of us are busy? Busy. We're all busy. So sometimes you just need a quick reminder. Okay, this week I'm going to just focus on, I just turned it open to this gratitude, right? Tip number 12 is gratitude, and then less than 100 words. It's not going to take me long. And if I can just focus on that this week, that's
mm,
really cool. So what was really fun in reference to my audience at the time when I was motivated to really do this is I was invited to be the actual speaker for the National Federation of High Schools for their national conference for student
mm.
leaders. And
Wow.
every state comes in, or every state has the opportunity to come in. And it's usually about 400 people that are a part. And these are the best of the best.
Mm,
And as we know, speakers like to have books, and I didn't have a book. And I'm like, I had the whole, I'm not an author. I don't know how to write a book. I don't know how to do any of that, but I do know how to motivate people. I do know how to empower people. And so I had the luxury of having, and we'll probably talk about who that is later, but of sitting down and said, Deb, everything you teach, you just need to sit in a chair for a minute and type it out. It's
mm,
all in everything you do. You just need to put it on paper. And we've got
mm.
formats, we've got things. That's what you get editors for. I'm like, okay, I can really do this. And within 90 days, and I literally had a deadline because I wanted that book in the hands of those 400 students,
Wow. That's good.
especially after the confidence level is low, the humanity is low, the disconnectedness is low, and starting with ourselves, especially with our Gen Z, which is
Wow.
a huge, it is just, I love me some Gen Z. And so that was my audience. And so it
Wow.
was
That was
super
good. That
exciting.
was good. And I just love the way you just and you just rip up the bananas because we eating some bananas now. In case you don't like banana, please, and don't
I
take
love
it
bananas.
personal. Yeah,
Yeah.
banana is good because you just open the banana now. As we are opening the banana, we're about to eat that banana. I want to ask you a question. Is this your first book?
Yes.
Now, the reason why I ask this question is this. You speak the hearts of so many people that I've talked to, and especially people that are working on their first book. And when they have that kind of, oh, how do I do this and all that? And you say, no, just everything you've been teaching, put it together and all that stuff. And I tell people, you have enough content. And you don't have to overthink it. All you have to do is to put together, just start with one. So the question is, what fear almost stopped you from writing this book? And what did you do the day you decided fear would no longer take the lead?
The fear was probably the same one everybody else has in reference to I'm not an author. I don't know how to write a book.
Mm,
That was the fear. I don't know how. I know how to do a lot of things. I don't know how to write a book. And some of that, again, that's a mindset, right? And that's why there are people out there. So the fear was, I don't know how to do this.
mm,
The secret is asking questions because
mm,
questions are the secret to connections, right?
yeah,
Questions are the secret to connections.
mm,
And so I just started asking my, and so my why was big enough because I'm like, I'm speaking at the national conference and I have the opportunity to get something in the hands of not just talking at them because I love me a good conference. I love me a good workshop. I love me, a good message. That's great. But then it's okay. So what? Now what? That's the application component.
mm,
What am I going to do with this? How am I going to do this? So I thought, okay, I don't know how to write a book. I don't know how to write a book. And so, but I started asking questions, which led me to Deb, do a tips book. And
mm,
that I was like, oh, ooh, what does that look like?
mm,
And then when somebody just started little by little dissecting, like, oh, everything that you already do, Deb, just start writing it out.
mm,
And then there was a formula for me. I'm like, oh, you have a formula? Awesome. And oh, you have an editor? Great. And then you actually get excited when you start writing things down. Your belief starts to come back, right? As to
mm,
like, oh, maybe I can. And that's the shift of why I wanted to do tools and mindset for transformation, because that's the belief system that yes, you can. You can write a book.
mm.
And you should write a book because everybody has a story, but
Yeah.
what's the lesson in that, right? We all have a story, we all have a book in us, but what is your message? Because you have a sphere of influence that I don't have.
Mm,
Dr. Michael, you have a sphere of influence that I don't have. We all have a sphere of influence that we are put on this earth to make an impact and
yeah.
have that ripple effect. And
Mm,
so I'm a huge believer, regardless of my book is not going to be for everybody. And that's totally fine. That's
mm,
totally fine. And so
mm.
for me, the fear went away the moment I started typing.
Wow, I love that. Can you repeat that,
Actually,
please?
writing.
Can you repeat that, please? I mean, this is. In fact, I'm gonna buy this message. I mean, for real, please. Can you just? Okay, now,
My fear went away when I just started typing.
can somebody just hear that? Our fear went away when she started typing because the cure for fear is action. Fear thrives when there's an inaction.
Mhm.
And that's the thing about it. It has always been that case. You just have to start where you are, do what you can, and use what you have.
It's just like jumping on this call,
Hmm.
right? You could have said no,
Yeah,
but there's a reason why you did. So
yeah,
that's your start.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was really great. I mean, that was just really a mic drop that you just said. And and I tell people, it's just like you going to the store and has a sliding door. It is when you go towards the door that the door will open. The door will not open as long as you see. If you stand like 100 feet away from the door, it will be locked because they got to keep the air in and the heat in during the cold. and they have to keep the air condition in during the time of summer. So the door has been programmed to stay closed. But when you take a step towards your vision, your dream, the world begin to opens up to you. And that was the thing about it. So thank you for sharing that. That was a mic drop. Now, let's move on. What is one mistake you made during writing or publishing of this book that you wish someone has warned you about? And how can we avoid it? Something that you think that, oh, if and maybe upon reflection right now, that what you wish you knew when you are writing this book, since it's your first book.
The mistake was probably waiting.
Oh, that was so good.
I mean, I love this book. So, and once I started, I'm like, this is really cool. It's just a simple tips book. Like, it's things that I already know, things that I already do. I'm not trying to complicate it. Each page is less than 100 words. And, and I have the blessing of I have been in business, so I do speak, I do train. I just had to believe in myself. That was part of the fears, like, I can do this. But I think that as far as the mistake, I mean, could I go through and go, oh, how come I didn't do that tip? Or, oh, how come I didn't come up with that one? And I could critique that all day long and beat myself up over it. And that's not transformation. That's the wrong transformation. So for me, I think the biggest mistake was waiting because I
Mm,
was rushed. I'm like,
mm.
okay, I have 90 days. I gotta get this done. Don't wait, people.
And that was it. Because I want to tell someone that your wait is over. Because there's a point in which wait, WAIT, can turn into a weight,
Mhm.
WEIGHT. And the more you wait, the more the weight. It becomes heavy and heavy on you, like, oh.
That's April wisdom right there.
Yeah, we're talking about April wise. This is April wise.
Uh-huh.
And I can feel the same thing, Coach Deb. This is so true for me. I wrote my first book when I was in medical school,
Hmm.
and that was 26 years ago. It was a little book, and I still have
Were
it
you
here.
10?
20, yeah, yeah, 26 years ago.
You were 10 years old.
Yeah, yes. I'm a young man. Yeah.
I'm a young author.
I mean, this is the book.
Understanding
And it's
medical
not really
school.
that big. It was like a booklet because I failed my first professional exam that would take me from the preclinical to the clinical. And a lot of people have been, I mean, kind of like, and if you do it twice, if you fail, you out. You can be a doctor all your life. So, and when I want to take it the second time and God showed me the blueprint, it's 7 C's.
Hmm.
And no one has ever done this before. Even people that have passed outright, they didn't fail. Nobody has ever written a book on that, understanding medical school.
Hmm.
And it's like you're gonna do the you that failed, who will buy it and all that. I didn't really care, but I knew that this is a genuine passion to solve a problem. I don't want people to go through what I went through.
Hmm.
So and the book came out. I mean, just like a little booklet.
Hmm.
That was in November 11, 2020. And the second one came out 3 years and 3 years after. And this one was understanding your gift.
Hmm.
Then guess what? For 20 years after that, I didn't write a single book. 20 years, not 20 months, 20 years. And all that period, I don't just know how to do it. I just don't know how to write. Everything, just all the momentum that I have just went flat
Hmm.
until 3 years ago. And I began to pick up back again. So and all those things, that the thing that you're sharing, that you see, because the wait was long. Now watch this. The more the wait, the more the weight on me.
Hmm.
And I just realized that wow, something is not right until the icebreaker came and 10 new books came in.
That's
And
awesome.
what I just want to tell someone today is the more you wait, the more the wait. If the weight today is 1 pound, it's going to be 2 pounds tomorrow. And The wait is over. It doesn't have to be perfect. You have to start where you are. So thank you, Ms. Deb. You're really helping us today. So what accountability system helped you finish this book? And do you have a partner? Do you have a coach? Do you have a community? And you already talk about deadlines. So we that 90 days deadline was a very powerful factor.
Mhm.
And what should an aspiring author set up in the next 7 days? Give a concrete next step and structure for the would-be authors, because those are the people that we serve here, aspiring authors and emerging authors. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that was a lot of questions all in one. Did y'all get that? I don't know if you all got that. So I'm going to be just who I am and say, wait, can you go back to the first question of that part that of those 7 questions that you just asked me? Because I got the end of it, but
Okay,
I didn't quite understand the
the,
very first one that you said.
the, the question is this: what accountability system helped you to finish this book? And because for instance, the Authors Forum is an accountability system. That's the purpose of the Authors
Yep,
Forum, is
yep,
to hold people accountable, is to help them,
yeah.
like a support system. So, do you have one when you were writing this book? And then, do you have a coach? Do you have a community? Like, this is the purpose of this. And personally, I do book coaching for people in Authors Forum, people that reach out. And then, of course, you told her that you have a deadline. Then what should an aspiring author set up in the next 7 days? Give us a concrete next step and structure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for repeating that. I appreciate that. And I hope I wasn't alone in that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. So as far as for me, I was so excited because I always wanted to. The year before this, I actually have another book.
Wow. Coming
Uh,
up.
it's all kind of in this thing. And so, but that's a lot. That's like my story. It's all the things, and I didn't quite grasp it. So this was a perfect timing for me. And so this might be helpful if you're like, I don't know, I don't have this long. But for me, going down this lane, I happened to be at IMC. And I was sitting with Elizabeth McCormick, and I did not know that she had a publishing company. And
Hmm.
somebody had asked her a question, and I know you've had her on
Oh
your
yeah.
platform.
She's my mentor.
Yes, she's awesome. So and it's so okay, y'all. I'm gonna totally be honest and truth. Sitting at this table, and they were having us having a conversation at the table about a certain topic. I really wanted to talk about that topic. I don't even remember what it is right now, but I really wanted to talk about that topic. And there was somebody at that table that kept asking Elizabeth questions about something that had nothing to do with the topic. And I'm like, trying to be patient because I really wanted to talk about things. And that's how funny how God can like get you. So in that moment, somebody made a comment about a book or something, and she made the comment about, well, I have a publishing company. I started a publishing company. And I looked at her and I went, wait, what? You have a publishing company? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, no way. And that planted a seed, y'all. Here's a next step that so I'm answering the first question with the last question, and in between, it's kind of what I do. I bob and weave. And so in that moment, there was a seed planted in me that said, she has a publishing company. And I love me some Elizabeth McCormick. So I should probably look into that. So then we kind of got on the topic and we were able to talk about what I really wanted to talk about. And I left there with fear. I left there going, that's so great, but I don't know. But I knew I had this conference coming up. I knew I was going to be a speaker. And then I forgot my water bottle on the table. And it's a Yeti. You don't leave those behind. So I went back to get my water bottle. Nobody was in there except Elizabeth. All the lights were out. She was sitting there on her computer. And so I had the courage. This is your next step. I had the courage to ask a question, because questions are the secret to
Hmm.
connections that help you take action.
Hmm.
And so I said, "Oh, hey, so wait a minute. you have a publishing company? She's like, yeah, and you have a book in you. And I'm like, I know. We all do, right? So,
Mm,
and we started that conversation, and I said, so I kind of wrote a book, but there's no way I'm having this when's your conference? It's in 90 days, it's in 3 months. I said, there's no way I could get a book done in that amount of time for what I'm not really ready. I've got chicken scratch and whatnot. And she said, sit down. I'm like, okay. And she said,
mm,
write a tips book, Deb. Deb, I know what you do. You are
mm,
out there, you speak, you teach, you train, you have all this wisdom. Sit your butt in a chair and just type it out. And I'm like, I can't, but can I sit on a plane? Can I write it on napkins? Can I do all of that? Because I don't really sit in an office. And she said, we have a formula. I'm like,
mm,
no way. She said, yes, I'm going to send it to you right now. And
mm,
without even a commitment, she sent me everything. And she said,
mm,
it's you can do a tips book. We can do it in 90 days, but you're going to have to stay on it. I have a system for you to dial in. If you go over 100 words every page, it's going to tell you you went over 100 words.
mm,
And so here's what it is. Here's the pricing. Here's how it all happens. And
mm,
so I said, okay,
mm,
I'm gonna do it. So, and
mm.
so that was such great coaching that she simplified it,
Wow. Wow. That was
kept it
awesome.
really simple, right? But
Mm,
she had a system for me to plug into. So
mm,
yeah, what I did, if I was on a plane, I still have all my notes and I'll have them on a file because one day, so I had all my notes, and then what I would do when I was back at my computer, she would send me the file. And I would type in, she had the whole system for me that I could type in, and I would type it in, send it
mm,
off, they'd fix it up, type it back. And the same thing with the cover. She had the whole system where tell me the
mm,
colors you like and give me some examples of some things that catch your eye.
mm, mm.
And again, it
Wow.
goes back to, we all have a sphere of influence. Just like Michael, when you were talking about the first book that you wrote, I
Mm.
could never touch that audience that you were touching at that
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. Yeah.
regardless, right? And so, and for all the things that what your eye attracts to. And so
Mm,
I was like, well, my company colors are gray, blue, black, white. Let's go with that. So I kind of picked a few. And they had all the templates for that as well. And so it
mm.
was a
Wow.
hundred
That was
percent.
great. That was awesome.
It was
Wow. This is
so good,
awesome. This
so
is,
good.
mm,
And you know what? As far as and the reason why you have start typing.
yeah.
And Michael just told you he coaches, so you have no excuse if you're on this platform here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what happened on that when I decided to do that, what I then did is I reached out to the association. And
Mm,
I said, "Hey, I said, I would love as being your closing speaker, I would love the opportunity to have all of those students have a book that I'm putting together." And do you
mm.
know they bought 400 books?
Wow. That was awesome.
They
Woo.
bought because the cause was empowering students. The I and it was and because of the size of this, I've
Mm.
had ADs that reach out to me that they give them to their senior captains when they're graduating because they
Wow.
know we have other schools that have captains council, and they'll buy the book, and each week they'll just use one of the tips and they'll talk about it and
Mm,
then go into practice. My
mm,
monthly mentoring programs, we use this.
mm.
So
Wow.
that
That
system
was
was
that
was
that
was
this is really great, Coach Deb, because and I like this because I always tell people that one of the way to sell your book is when you speak. I went to Maryland of recent, and one person buy a book of $345. Just one person, different topics, different titles, and the power of leaving your book behind is unquantifiable. It's such a great thing, and this is just what you're doing because you've had now a framework, and people can't take you home because they're gonna have a problem with your husband, and then but they can take your book home.
You know what's really fun too about this book? We actually put a couple of QR codes in here. So if you took your camera and like for one of them is fundamental. Fun is
Wow.
a basic need.
Hmm.
And I think I was actually in a middle school. yesterday, and they made the announcement. Um, I'm totally gonna mess this up, but I think it was a young person will laugh 400 times a day, and then
Mm,
an adult is like 15.
mm,
But it
mm.
might have been 4,000 and 1,500, those numbers. But they were off, they were off, like that. And so with this is fun is fundamental, there's a QR code here, and I have a reel that it goes to that I just have kids that in a training that we did that the kids are just having super fun, kind of a dance party thing, which was really fun to do this book as well. Just throw those QR codes in there that are attached to
Wow.
social media.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
I
super
mean,
fun.
that was great. Wow. Okay, let's go to another question. What would you say to the author, to the aspiring author who feels not ready, not qualified, or not enough? And what tiny action should this emerging author take in the next 24 hours?
Okay. First, call me. I will tell you. Go. Call me. I will talk you through all of that craziness of I can't, I don't, I'm not, I can't do, I don't have, not good at. So I, yes, you do. Say yes until it's a no. So the action that you can do is just start to write. That's
Mm,
what I did. I just started to write.
mm,
And I actually, 6 months before that, I started writing um in another book, which I will fill that. And I'm actually going to do that one. But just because I started that, right, it turned into this. And it was where it is. There it is. It turned into this because that's where I was at that time.
mm,
And so for you, it might be a tips book, but it might end up being some crazy awesome book and I'm sure it will be an awesome book, but it's not going to be awesome if you don't do it.
mm, mm,
And so for me, I would say, please just start to write because that starts giving you believability, right?
mm,
And right now, the reason you're saying no is because you don't have the confidence to think that you're a writer. I get it. I was there. Here's
mm.
what happens when you start to write. Take the next step and just start to, whether you handwrite it, there's magic that happens. There's magic. I'm still old school. I like to take my notes by hand because there's magic in remembering it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But by the fact is, if you just start to write, what's going to end up happening is you're going to cancel out some of that negative thinking because when you start to write, guess what you have? You have evidence that you're a writer.
Mm,
And
mm.
evidence is how you build confidence. All confidence
Oh,
is doing what
wow.
you say you're going to
That's
do.
another goal. Evidence is how you build confidence. Woo, wow, wow, wow. Listen, I already back up my trunk. Keep dumping the gold.
I love you. You got such a great spirit,
You
my
you
friend.
you know the way I back up my trunk. I start recording because everything is recorded now. So it's going to the trunk. Now, one quick question I'll finish, then we're gonna open up the live audience gonna have opportunity of asking a question. The question I want to ask now is what is your simplest writing routine that actually worked even on busy days, and how can a new author copy it this week?
So I just carried around a small little notebook and I just had blank paper sometimes. So because I do travel, if I so I would always in my where do I have it here? In my backpack. I always carry around a notebook in my backpack that always
Okay.
has paper in
Mhm.
it. And so if I arrive to a place early and I have a few minutes, then I will take a minute and I might write a thought. I'm on a plane. Literally, I have written on a napkin on a plane.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
I just stuffed it in my bag. Don't lose this. And so it goes back to again, you've got to start. And
Hmm.
so again, that the book, James Clear's book on habits, right? 42% on average, 42% of our day is habit. So start the habit of today, I'm going to just write one sentence.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then
Wow.
you're not thinking, I have to write a whole book. No, I'm going to
Hmm.
write a sentence on what I believe.
Hmm.
And even if you don't even know, like, I know I have a book, but I don't know, write something, right? I love flowers. I don't know. I just cleaned my deck off. So when you start to write something, then that creativity starts to take place and that overthinking. And
Mm.
again, then you start having evidence.
Wow, that was awesome. Wow, great job. So we're gonna open up for the live audience, and so this live audience had the privilege of asking Coach Deb questions. So if you are here live, you have a question for Coach Deb. You've seen Coach Deb. I mean, you can unpack her in a day. If you want to unpack her, you need to stay with her for months because she's loaded but she's ready to discharge, and we've gotten so many stuff from her. So if you'd like to ask any question, you can put your hands up so that we can spotlight you and bring you to the spotlight to ask your question. So anybody in the live audience, this is a great privilege that you all have that other people don't have. And so if you have any question for her, and you can feel free and just put your reaction button, put your hands up and put your video on so that we can highlight you. And if you have a question for Coach Deb, I believe we have questions. We always have live questions so please feel free and let me see your hands up so that we can bring you up. Don't be afraid.
Or
Listen,
just say hello.
fear
Come
fear will
on,
not
it's
make
April.
fear will not make you to ask question, and I understand that. But if you have a question, maybe there's something that resonates with you, or you want some clarity, so she can give us more clarity based on your question. So feel free. This is your time. This is the session that we have for the live audience.
Hello. Hi. Good
Okay.
afternoon.
Can you turn your video on, please?
Dr. Mike. Let me see. I'm not sure I'm video ready, but I'll comply.
Okay.
Hello.
Hopefully. Wait, let me see where
Okay.
that. Hold on. I
Okay.
want to see where the video.
He's ready.
Yeah. So that we can spotlight
Okay.
you. Okay.
Hi, Coach Deb. How are you? It was
I'm
great seeing you at
great
Dallas.
to see you.
Thank you for sharing this story. We appreciate you always. We love you. We love the energy. Yes, and I really like all the things that you shared. But one thing that piqued my interest is for writing, um, you mentioned a tips book, like the formula is like 100 pages, no, the 100 words per page or something.
Yeah.
What would that be for a regular book per page? Is there
So,
like a formula you have to, what would that look like?
so in order to qualify for a tips book, it you cannot have more than 100 words per page,
Mm-hmm.
and then you cannot have more than 75 pages.
Oh.
Once you pass 75 pages, it becomes a book.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Does that help?
It does. It does. Thank you. And for a regular book, what would that look like?
In what capacity when you say
So,
regular book?
what I'm saying, you said if you exceed 75 pages or 100 words per page, it goes away from a thick book to a real book. So,
Mhm.
for a real book, for instance, do you have an idea what the number of words per page would look like, or it doesn't really matter?
I would I would say that um, Dr. Koku could probably help us a little bit more because he has more experience doing the larger books than for me doing the tips books. I'm gonna be a great coach and facilitator, and I'm gonna ask him to help us on that because I do know that it has to be that if you go past 75 pages, then it does become a book. You cannot
Oh,
call it a tips book. That law, I do know. As far as how
mm,
many words per page,
Mm.
I'm not familiar with if there's a rule there.
Mm.
okay,
Well,
okay.
Dr. Coco, do you know?
then talking about that word per page, there's no rule. If you want to write a book, just like you said, once you cross a particular amount, it really becomes a book. So, and I love the way she gave some perspective to tip book because I don't even know that. This is why we
Mm,
have in the authors forum because we
Oh,
all
it's a
have
fun
three
way to get
gaps:
one
the
done.
knowledge gap,
mhm,
experience gap, and perspective gap. So that was a good perspective. But when you want to write a book, the main thing is just the perspective that she brought to the table was that one page of a tip book must be less than 100 words
mm,
because less is more. It's all about tips book. I mean, Elizabeth,
mm,
she did a lot of that.
Mhm.
This is one of her tips. She did a lot of tip books, and tip
mm,
books are just a way. to let people realize that you can start somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you're not ready to write a big book. Dr. John Maxwell he do have some tip books at times.
Mm.
I bought some of his tip books before, but mostly people know him for the bigger version of the books that he writes. So, but
Yeah.
tip book is a way to still become an author while you taking time to build your thoughts. Because his first book, Dr. John Maxwell, took him 1 year to write.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Did you get
Thank
something
you
from
for that.
that?
And
Yes,
what
I
I
did. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah, and
that's
what I
good.
love about this too is that for those of you that might be a little overwhelmed, right? That it, like Michael said, less is more in keeping it simple, because guess
Yeah.
what I'm doing now? I'm going to make this a study guide. I'm going to make this I'm going to go into it a little more deep. I'm creating a women's mentoring program. I'm
Hmm.
doing a deeper dive because now I have a foundation.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for
Hmm.
that.
You're
I
welcome.
have another question, which is, I like what you shared that when you went for your first speaking engagement, you told them that you loved the opportunity to put the book in everybody's hands and you sold over 400.
Hmm.
I noticed that many authors have their books sitting in their houses or on the shelf, and they're not able to convert that knowledge into people's hands or even to make sales from it. Some people, their goal is not sales, but really, even to make sure that is in the hands of people. What would you say is the success factor for you to get your books in the hands of so many people? You've mentioned a few like speaking and having a mentorship program, but how do you really convert? Because some people will go and speak and they'll just sell like two or five. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, what is the success factor for you to really make sure that people get hold of that book?
Yeah, it goes back to, I'm going to back up a little bit of something that Michael said in the very beginning of our time today when he talked about serving. My goal was never to be the top author of the year and to sell 1 million books and to be number one on Amazon. You can buy your way to do that.
Yeah. And people do it. Yeah.
And people do it. Like you, if that's your goal, you can do that. For me personally, my goal was to support transformation and specifically for young people at that time. So for me, and this is just for my story, like I was able to read, I was able to, it did not cost me to do this book, but some time because I was in a position of I've been speaking. I am a speaker. I am a coach. I am a trainer. I have a successful business that I've been running for 16 years. And then it took me that long to write a book. So I had the audience to be able to get my ROI on that in reference to what I invested in the book. But that still was not even my goal. My
Hmm.
goal was, even if I didn't get it, I was giving those books.
Hmm.
I'm fortunate that I have a business that I could do that because that was my priority. I was going to tap into my my funnel of income to be able to get that in the hands of those people. That was I wanted to serve transformation to young people.
Hmm.
So for me, it wasn't about the money. I was
Hmm.
blessed probably because I had that attitude of that going into it, is that was that blessing. And so now I carry it with me. It's on Amazon and you can get it on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version on Amazon. And so to be fair, I had an audience that I wanted to serve this to. It wasn't about
Hmm.
being the number one bestseller.
Mm. Wow. And I like that thought, and Coach Deb, because the purpose. I tell people that put purpose before sales. And that's why when you are writing a book, the first question we ask that, what problem did your book solve?
Mhm.
Being a best server is better than being, I mean, a lot of people, they this pressure. I mean, and if all you want to be is a best-selling author, listen, it's all about you. You are self-centered. Listen, there's nothing wrong in being a bestseller, but I believe best-selling author should be a byproduct. There's so
Mhm.
many books that you see best-selling author and you read it. For instance, I read a book. It's a financial book. I won't mention the author. It's just hype.
Yeah.
And there's another author from that company that I'm reading that book now that it's really meets real substance. But that other one it's just hype. And I'm glad that I didn't even spend money because they gave it to me for free as one of the, I don't want to mention the company. But what
Mhm.
I'm saying is this. She was able to leverage the community that she was in because they already have a system. If I mention, everybody knows the name of the company. But that my plan, my aim is to let you know that you can buy your way to be a best-selling author, but you can't buy your way to be a best serving author because service is when you really met the need, a felt need. Somebody pick up your book, somebody's going through some challenges and they need help. And your book is, and that's what you should focus, even if it's just one person that you can help. That book has achieved the purpose. Leave the outcome. Just don't worry about the outcome. The outcome must be a product of serving that one person. And that's why when you're writing a book, think about that one person. If you don't want to write a book, tell yourself, who will suffer because of my disobedience? And that's the thing about it. So I have 5 books inside of me now, cooking up for this new year. And they are all felt need. They are felt need. I've talked to people, I've spoke, and I realized this is one of it is TNC, the new competition. And I see how people try to compete. And the new competition, according to the book, is not between you and others. It's between who you are today and who you are yesterday. So it's a book that will turn people's life purpose into meaningful influence so that you will realize that I don't have to compete with Coach Deb. I don't have to compete with Dr. Ayo. I have to compete with me. So this is what it's all about. Service. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ayo. That was a beautiful
Thank
question.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome, and thank you for the questions.
Yeah. And for your information, she's writing a book.
Yes, do it. You
Yeah.
have to. You're so
Yeah.
I'm
lovely.
putting you on the spot. I'm putting you on
Yes,
alert.
Dr. Ayo, do it.
Yeah. Thank you so
So
much. This has been really inspiring.
yeah,
Yes,
If
really,
I
really.
thank
can
you.
serve you in any way, you know how to find me. Social media
Yes,
at its best. If I can do anything for you, please reach out.
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
you're
Okay,
welcome.
thank you, Dr. Aya, for your question. Okay, let's see another person. Coach Remy, you got a question?
Yes, thank you so much, Coach Deb, for this beautiful insights. And so my question is, how do you engage Gen Zers effectively with your message, knowing you have that generational gap between you and them? And I know you talked about the having fun factor in your programs and training. So how do you just win them over for them to listen and then actually implement what you're trying to pass across to them? Thank you.
Such a good question. Putting me on the spot with that one. What's not to love about Dab? Um, so that's such a fair question because and that's why we all have a gift, right? We all have a gift. And so often people will say to me, "Oh my gosh, why do you work with young people?" And I look at them and I go, "Oh my gosh, why do you not work with young people?"
Mm,
Mhm.
And so truly, I love young people. And you know that expression, you can't kid a kid? And not that calling them all kids, but they are so, this generation, there are some top values that they have. And I know Dr. Tim Elmore has told us these from the stage before, creativity, innovation, but authenticity
mm,
is huge for them.
mm,
And so when you are your best authentic self, you can
Mm,
connect with anybody.
mm,
Because wasn't it Jamie Kern Lima who said authenticity has no competition? She said that a couple of years ago from the stage, and I
mm,
know Mark has owned that a little bit from the stage also. That authenticity has no competition. And this
mm,
generation, authenticity is more important to them. Having a cause is more important to them. So I will literally stand at the door when they're coming in. And I also am very excited and I feel very blessed and I am honored to work with young people. I love working with young people. So for me, it's easy to stand at the door knowing that I'm going to probably get some rejection. They're just like, why are you so bubbly? Right. But they know authenticity, so that you can't, they can't deny that. And so
Mm,
when they're minute they're walking in, I'm fist pumping, I'm high fiving them, and I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being here. And then most of the time, the folks that I'm working with, like in my mentoring programs, they actually applied to come to be a mentor. So they want to be there.
mm,
Our leadership programs, those students applied or they were picked, they were selected. When I work with conferences across the country with athletic conferences, last week I was in Atlanta and we had 350 student athletes, right? They were selected to be there. So
mm,
the one thing about working with this generation is not only to be authentic, but they want to do well. They want to
mm,
step up. They are hungry to have humanity back. They are hungry to, and so if you know that going in and you look them in the eye and you are authentic and say, thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes, because is there a lack of humanity in our society? Yeah, I go,
mm,
yes. Is there a lack of disconnectedness? Yes.
Mm.
And it starts with ourselves because is there room for improvement in your school culture? Is there room for improvement in your school climate? Is there room for improvement in your sportsmanship, in the locker room? And yes, yes. And so then I said, so here's the question. If not you, then who? And if not now, then when?
mm,
Mm. Mm.
And they start to own that because they're also, and Tim Elmer tells us that, is they're also about a cause. They are about a cause. They're not
mm,
about all the money. They're about a cause. And so if you can get them to understand that they are the most single agents of change in school climates, in school culture, and they start to realize, oh, hey, I'm not alone that. And the magic is at the table. Like that's when John does transformation groups, right?
yeah,
The magic is always at the table. And so that you have them sit there and have an awkward moment, but give them questions to ask each other. We talked about that last night when we did a one of the GYI sprint calls that I'm doing at 7 o'clock on Tuesday nights for a couple of weeks. And we just talked about you've got to get them in a situation that they feel a little bit more comfortable so that you
Mm.
can have some
mm,
conversations. And so give them fun questions to talk about. Random,
wow.
you know, like some of my questions that I'll throw at the table. I'm like, hey, just grab a card and ask some people at your table the question and like, hey, would you rather have a week spend the weekend with pirates or ninjas?
Oh yeah, that's the fun.
You know, and then but the next one might be what qualifies somebody to be a good mentor?
Mm,
Mm.
But when you put them in small groups and give them some things to have light conversations about, it breaks that ice, which I don't like the term icebreaker, but it breaks that ice, but the authenticity has to be there. And then that buy-in comes in when you start asking them the questions and
Mm.
they're intentional because they're meaningful to them, right?
Mm.
And that's effective leadership. How do we have effective leadership? We build meaningful and intentional relationships.
Mm.
yes, that's true. Wow, thank you so much. Yes,
That
what's
help?
not to love? What's not to love about the young people? That's amazing. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you.
Yes. No,
Mm.
thank you. You as well, my friend.
That was awesome. You know what, Coach Deb? It is no accident that you are the inaugural speaker at our Blaze of Change in the Lab Global community. It is no marvel because you are just in your element, just swimming in the water as a fish in the water. And what you shared with us today has really changed life. Coach Remy, thank you for your question. Because Coach Remy, she and Dr. Ayon, they are I got three. We have three leaders in the Lamb Global community. They don't know how to spell parenting. They spell it this way. Parent teen, Teen. So she's one of those. But she work and those three people, what is unique with them is they work with parents and teens. So that's why they spell parenting that way. And I believe what you shared has really helped a lot. And Coach Deb, you are just so phenomenal, I tell you. And you are a gift to this generation. You've added so much value to us today. And what you shared with us today, and there are so many people that I know here that they are going to be transformed because you are an agent of transformation. So, my last question for you is this: what would be your last word for someone that even after all this, they are still sitting on the fence and they are still thinking that, can I really do this?
Type or write. That would
Hmm.
be my last word. Just start writing.
Hmm.
You don't have to commit it to anybody.
Yep,
Just start writing.
that's good. That's good. That's good. Wow. So tell us the resilience factor, how it plays a role in your first book. Yeah.
How
How
the
how are you
resilience
being able to leverage the resilience factor? Yeah.
resilience resilience is my middle name. Just saying.
I know. That's how we picked the topic for you.
Yes, resilience, resilience, resilience. And, John talked about success and failure, right? And that you can't have one without the other and keeping them together. And so when we talk about resilience, the three things that he shared with us, and I'll repeat them. So if you want to have them and take them down, because that is something that I actually do teach as well. But success and failure teaches us humility.
Hmm.
Right? And here's the thing, this is a little bit of a brain teaser. You cannot even practice humility if you're not good at something.
Hmm.
If you're not good at something, then you're just not good at something.
Hmm.
But in order for you to practice humility, you have to be good at something, which is quote unquote success, whatever that is. Like, it's different for all of us, right?
Hmm.
But failure with success teaches us resiliency.
Hmm.
Failure with some success, right? 17 years ago when I started calling on schools, I was like, we need to do student mentoring programs. And they're like, great. How do we do that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then they don't pay you. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Practice a little resiliency. The only way that you're able to practice resiliency, and you tapped into this again on the very beginning, the very first question that you asked was, what problem do you solve with your
Yeah.
book?
Yeah.
And so the resiliency component is because we all have goals, dreams, and aspirations. We all have things that we want to be, do, and have.
Hmm.
In order for you to get those, in order for it to be important enough, you're going to fail. And when
Hmm.
you fail, you get to practice resiliency,
Hmm.
which is our biggest lessons. Some of
Hmm.
our biggest lessons are when we make the mistakes.
Hmm. 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 Wow. Thank you so much. That was a mic drop moment. And Coach Deb, we just want to say thank you for your time. And we know you're one of the busy most. The other time I was trying to book you, and you said, "Oh, you'll be in the air. Then we don't want you in the air. We don't want you in the air. AIR. We want you here. HERE." And
I'm so excited that it all worked out, and I
yes, it
appreciate
does.
the
Yeah, yeah.
opportunity. And
Mm,
anybody here on this call, just start to write
yeah,
or
yeah,
type, whichever
yeah.
you prefer.
That's beautiful. And with that, we've come to the end of the Authors Forum for the month and of April. Then this Authors Forum has really helped so many people to write their books. So many people have been inspired even after they watch it and they are wow. And that's what the vision is all about. And next month we're gonna be 2 years young, 2 years
Yes,
strong. And our guest author next month is Dr. Lisa. She happens to be here. She's also one of our leaders in the Lamb Global community. So it's going to
awesome.
be a great time. Now, we're bringing Yannick X in the month of June.
Oh, Yannick, love Yannick.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yannick just wrote his
So
book too.
good.
Yeah, so we're gonna have him in the month
So
of
good.
June, and we're bringing great people right here because we want people to know that it is possible, it is
And it will
doable.
be one of you all if you start typing and writing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I believe many people today has been inspired to go ahead and do it. So thank you so much, Coach Deb. Thank you, everyone. And we want to say book writing is not a gift. It's a system that you can build. And you build this system when you tell yourself that I can do it. So because belief is everything, and think you can and think you can't. That's what Henry Ford said. Either way, you are right. So you have to just change the way you think and get right with the right people, and because as long as you know you can, and that is how you can. Thank you, everyone.